creation and protection of IPR is a subject very close to my heart. It has always been my desire to make decision makers think about innovation. Historically, innovation has been a foundation of all human progress. Innovation has brought us from Stone Age to Iron Age to Bronze Age to Industrial Age to Information Age, and now we are looking at an age driven by bioinformatics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. We all know that innovation has historically driven greater prosperity, greater security, greater standards of living and health. In fact, research shows that innovation and prosperity have always gone hand in hand. It is also a fact that that individual, that community, that organization, that country, which effectively secures its IPR, has had a distinct advantage over the rest. Competent and sophisticated professional expertise is required to consolidate and maximize gains from IPR. Traditionally, intellectual property rights has been a tool for promoting innovation and safeguarding the innovators. But IPR has also been a tool in the hands of countries. It is a very important and sophisticated and powerful geopolitical tool. Countries try to somehow acquire proprietary information so that they can increase their economic clout and they can impose their power and their ideology on others. We have seen that in the last 600 years, innovation-driven Europe has dominated the world. In the last 100 years or so, we have seen an innovation-driven United States dominate and spread its ideology in the world. Today, we are seeing China rapidly catching up so that it can not only have prosperity, but it can also impose its ideology on the world. It is in this background that we have the Atmanirbhar Bharat, this mission of the government of India to increase self-sufficiency, self-reliance, and I am happy to see that this momentum is gaining. India is increasingly creating and registering more and more intellectual property. I understand that for the first time in more than 11 or 12 years, the number of Indian patents filed is more than the number of non-Indian patents filed. I heard the Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, recently speak about this and highlight this aspect. As any economy grows, the country tries to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, and as the economy grows, investment in research and development increases, innovation increases. Innovation is happening in India today. This was the message of the Union Minister. There are over a dozen companies in the Forbes top 100 most innovative organizations from India. L&T, Sun Pharma, Bajaj Auto, Infosys, TCS are some of the names. We are also seeing the emergence of clusters, innovation clusters. Bangalore, Chennai, the Delhi NCR region, Pune. These are some of the emerging innovation technology clusters. And these are ranked among the top based on parameters such as entrepreneurship, access to capital, conducive government policy, and effective implementation of intellectual property rights. The Government of India, through the National Innovation Foundation, a very dynamic organization which is involved in promoting innovation at the grassroots level, an organization for whom our firm has been privileged to work for, and an organization which has recognized our firm, is running one of the world's largest grassroots innovation promotion programs. We have helped secure hundreds of innovations by people from the rural and Tier 2 areas. Simple innovations by the common man. A pressure cooker based espresso machine. We have seen refrigerators without the use of electricity. We have seen implements and equipment for climbing trees and harvesting fruits and grains. All this is coming from the rural and Tier 2 cities. In our own state of Tamil Nadu, we have the Tamil Nadu Startup and Innovation Mission, which has the only object of knowledge creation, promoting research and development, and providing infrastructural support. Our state of Tamil Nadu has firmly fixed its sights on becoming a $1 trillion economy by 2030. And the government has made it a point to make sure that this growth is going to be an intellectual property driven growth. While we have very eminent speakers here today on the dais, and we have some on the front table here, they will speak on the rapidly maturing intellectual property regime in India. So I will not speak on those details. But I would like to speak to the decision makers here today. You, the decision maker, make decisions based on very tangible, visible parameters such as return on investment, market share, strategies of the competitors, things like that. But then research has shown that such visible, tangible parameters arise out of innovation, which itself is based on important, non-tangible, non-visible factors. Research has shown 8 such factors. I will quickly mention those factors. Time does not permit me to go into detail in all, so I will just highlight 2 of them, hoping that it will instigate you to think on innovation. According to research, the first factor is organization culture, a very important aspect for spurring innovation. Second is the involvement of the top leadership and the commitment of the top leadership towards innovation. Third is clarity of communication of the vision of the top leadership in any organization to people working in the organization, that yes, we are an innovation-driven organization, we want to innovate, we want to improve every day. Next is the quality of human resources. Innovation is directly proportionate to the level and quality of human resources in the organization. Cross-functional learning. When people in organizations, when they work from different disciplines together, they work together from different disciplines, it shows that cross-pollination of ideas take place and they are able to come up with better ideas to improve their day-to-day processes. Very important aspect for innovation is the risk appetite of the management. Are you willing to put resources? Do you have the capability to put resources into innovation? The seventh point is integration of market research and customer feedback into your product and service development. This is becoming a very important competitive tool for innovation. And of course, the last factor which many of us may not have the full control over is the location of our company, the ecosystem where we live, the competition which we are surrounded by. So I just want to speak on two aspects for the entrepreneurs and decision makers who are here. And that is, first, very shortly, it is communication and commitment of the top leadership. If the top leadership looks beyond survival, beyond day-to-day revenues, if the top leadership is able to sit back at least 3 or 4 hours in a week to ponder about how their respective organization can improve, how we can be better next week than we were this week, in very small ways. Can I improve the energy efficiency? Can I improve the work efficiency? Can I improve the process efficiency? Small incremental. And then the management should be able to effectively communicate it to the whole team. And if the team is able to buy in, then every person in the organization, from the doorman to the chairman, becomes a stakeholder in the innovation journey. The next point is risk. I will quickly, in 2 minutes, touch upon the 4 categories of risks and 4 strategies of risks which normally an entrepreneur or a decision maker is faced with. The first group is the proactive group. The proactive group of companies and individuals are those who do not wait for anybody, but they go out, they try to do research, they try to do innovation, like for example the pharmaceutical companies. Now the proactive group is a very high risk taking group. They invest a lot of resources upfront without any certainty whether they will be able to get an innovation, an invention, a patent. This is obviously not for all of us, but that is one category. The second category is active risk takers. Active risk takers are basically those organizations who are good in what they do, but they constantly want to become better. So they are constantly looking at making small incremental innovations in whatever they do, in every aspect of what they do. Can my HR be a % better today than it was yesterday? Can my finance be a % better than today than it was yesterday? Can my operations be a % better than what it was yesterday? So these are the active risk takers who believe in incremental innovations, and here the risk is somewhere between low and medium, and this is where a bulk of us fall in. For example, computer hardware manufacturers. They are constantly trying to see how they can increase the speed, reduce the power, reduce the size, things like that. The next category of risk takers is called the reactive category. They wait, they watch what is happening in the market, and when somebody comes up with innovation, they react to it. For example, there was one airline. Then another airline came, became a lower cost. Then a third airline came, we will have the lower cost. So that is a kind of a reactive category of risk takers. The fourth category is the passive category. Passive category is that category which waits for the customer to come back and say, hey, you need to change. I want a better product. For example, auto component manufacturers. We keep manufacturing auto components till the customer comes to us and says, no, this is not light enough, this is not efficient enough. So the passive category is the lowest risk-taking category. I would like the entrepreneur, the decision maker here to be aware of these four risk categories and try to see where you fit in, and then try to introspect whether you want to make a small change, an incremental change to go to another category. Similarly, within these four risk categories, there are four risk strategies. First is the customer-oriented innovation category, which is the entire company, from production to marketing to sales to customer support, they are always looking for feedback from the customer. Consolidate the feedback, and then they go back to the drawing board. They go back to the boardroom. They go back to the R&D facility and see how we can use customer feedback to improve our product or service. From textiles to telephones, from cars to computers, they use this as a very effective strategy to improve their product or service. The next category, the next strategy is the product innovation strategy. Now, this is very rare. This is a very disruptive strategy, and they are very few and far between. We had the first jet aeroplane, we had the first iPod which replaced the Walkman. These are very few and far between. So this strategy is good, desirable, but it is not for all, it is for a minuscule small percentage. The third, I am told, is process innovation, which almost all companies, a majority, maybe 95% of them fall into this. This is the bread and butter of innovation. This is the bulk of innovation. They are looking at small incremental change. The entire International Standards Organization model is based on continuous improvement, and this is where this strategy falls. And finally, we have strategic innovation, which also is not for many. The strategic innovation strategy is where companies look at the environment around them, they realize that they will not be able to sustain in that environment, they totally try to redevelop themselves. I will give you two international examples because these are well-known examples and you can relate to. One is Nokia. 50 years ago, they were into timber products. And when the environmental legislation became very strict, they realized that timber is not going to be the future. They shifted to telephones, mobile phones. Of course, I will not go to the next step. Strategic innovation is about seeing the environment, making a decision to change. Most people get frightened and close down operations. But look at the changing environment. It can be the physical environment, it could be the legislative environment, regulatory environment, whatever it is. Use it as an opportunity to transform.